माननीय सरकारवाह जी, माननीय क्षेत्र संघ चालक जी, माननीय प्रांत संघ चालक जी, नागरिक सज्जन, माता भगिनी, I'll start with apology. I have been asked to speak in English, which is not the language of my study nor my practice. So I will have to put in some Hindi words from time to time, one thing. And secondly, there are some purely Bharatiya concepts which don't have any synonymous word in other languages outside Bharat. So also I will have to use such terms. So I think you will understand. The congregation is to get the information about Sangha. Sangha is a topic of vigorous discussion for last at least a decade. And when we hear those discussions, one thing comes to mind, that they are not based on facts, they are based on hearsay or some narratives or some perceptions. Now Sangha is a unique organization. It has no comparable other in the whole world. So you cannot know Sangha from known to unknown, this method. This method is not effective in knowing Sangha because there is nothing to compare with. More misunderstandings are created. A person ate payasam and was returning when a blind man, his friend, asked him, "You have come from where have you come?" He said, "I went for a feast." So what was the feast? He said, "Payasam." What is payasam? You don't know payasam? It is made from milk. Lekin, what is the taste? He said, you know milk, it is white and it is sweet. Well, I can understand sweet, but what do you mean by white? He said, white like a crane. He said, crane? Yes, it is a bird. How is? So the blind man was given a demonstration. Crane is like this. Touch this and see. He touched the hand and he asked, "Such a zigzag payasam you ate, didn't it stick in your throat?" That is how, when we go about the affair of knowing the Sangha, if we don't have the facts, then likelihood of misunderstanding is there and it is happening. So it was thought in 2018 that an authentic information should be given. And that thought was brought into action at Delhi. And one such lecture series was there for 2 days. I spoke about, I have to speak because I am Sarsanga Chalak. So, most authentic source I am. So I had to speak about that. In 2 lectures I explained whatever I could. And then there was a question and answer session. And the event was successful in the sense that everybody got the facts. Everybody was turned towards RSS. That is not my claim. But that was not the intention. Here also, intention is not to convince you, but to give you facts so that whatever your take about RSS in support or in opposition should be based on facts, not on perception. So, when we completed our 100 years, it was thought that such a lecture series should be arranged at 4 places in the country. So, Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata. So, this is the second happening in Bangalore. But then what I have to tell, there is nothing new I can tell. Whatever I have spoke in 2018, I have to speak it again. But one thing new can be added, that now we have completed 100 years. So what is our next step? That can be there. But the period is the same, 2 lectures and question answer session. So what I spoke in 2018 in 2 lectures, I have to speak today in 1 lecture. And second lecture will be a new matter about what we think of future. First thing, we must know about Sangha. Many well-wishers of Sangha also describe Sangha as a reaction to certain situation, and that is not the case. Sangha has not been born out of reaction or opposition. Sangha is there to fulfill a compulsory need of every society. Sangha works in Hindu society. Society must be organized. That is the normal state of society. When we say a particular individual is living at such and such place, when we get this information, we imagine that that person is alive and kicking. It may happen that that person is in coma. But when we get the information, we don't imagine that he is in coma. He lives there, means he is there working, laughing, eating, everything he is doing. So society means organized society. It is the normal state of society. Organization of the society is not against anyone. It is not a reaction. It is the normal state and therefore it needs to be maintained. Sangha was thought of and Sangha was implemented out of this need. We had a long history of aggressions. And last attempt to get our independence through war was in 1857. It was an all India effort. People wanted it, and still it failed. So naturally, thinking people of our society started thinking, why did we fail? We were in our own country. Our vast majority was ruled by a minuscule minority of foreigners, British. We had our kings. We had brave leaders like Jhansi Ki Rani, like Tata Tope. Country was united for this one cause. And still we lost. So what is lacking? Some said, it is matter of time. In this battle we failed. We have to battle again. We have to keep the war going. We have failed in this battle. We have to prepare and again fight. That stream, it continued till 1945. And Subhash Babu allegedly died in that fire accident of the plane. In 2 years we got independence, so need for an armed revolt was not there. Actually, Swatantrya Savarkarji, he concluded his Abhinav Bharat in a function, saying that now it is our government, so we don't have to have this armed rebellion, etc., etc. That stream created so many heroes We still remember them. We still receive our inspirations from them. And it is a matter of pride for us, ever living inspiration for us. There was another stream which thought we failed because our masses are not politically aware. Traditionally, our kings and our soldiers used to fight. We used to carry on with the normal affairs of our day-to-day living. There was Dharma Yuddha. But those days have changed. Common man has to be aware politically. And to create that political awareness and create the need to agitate for independence, the political movements started. First was the Congress, Indian National Congress. Actually, it was created, it is said that it was created as a safety valve. But our leaders used it to create an effective weapon, political weapon, to acquire independence. And then that same stream further continued and gave rise to so many political parties. The armed revolutionaries, they kept moral of our society high. They kept the flame of patriotism burning in the hearts of Bharat. The political movement created the courage to come out and say Vande Mataram, say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So even common man, whatever he was doing it for the independence. Charkha chala chala ke lenge swaraj lenge. That sort of urge was created from within whole of the society. That is their contribution. But after we got independence, somehow that inspiration was gone. And then what happened to the politics of our country, I need not describe, you are witnessing it. There was another stream which said that our society has some defects. There are superstitions. We are too much in our tradition. It has to change with the times. There are so many reforms to be done. Unless we done those reforms, we cannot fight the British. They have progressed. They are up to date. They are scientific. We don't have that. So there were so many reform movements, starting from Raja Ram Mohan Rai ji, or even before him, persons like Vishnu Bua, Brahmachari, etc. They started so many things. But somehow, movements were all right, their leaders were respected, but reforms were not accepted by the common man of the society. So, reform movements became an island in the sea of Hindu society. They could not change much. They did commendable work, commendable research, innovative means they gave us. But the desired effect was not there. And there was still fourth stream, which said, we have forgotten our roots. Go back to roots. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, creator of Arya Samaj, Swami Vivekananda. These two figures prominently figure at the head of this movement. Go to our roots, know ourselves, and serve our society. That also continues. It is very relevant. But then to be active in the reformation, in the independence, that did not happen somehow. The founder of Sangha, Dr. Hedgewar, had participated in all four types of works. He had only one mission, to work for the country. When he went for medical education at Calcutta, he actually was sent by the leaders of the Nagpur. We call him born patriot. And the leaders in Nagpur saw the spark in him. So he was sent to Calcutta. He had no means. He lost his father, mother on the same day when he was 11 years old. There was no source of earning. So somehow he continued with his education, always stood in first 10 in his class. And second thing he continued with all his life was Deshabhakti, working for the independence of Bharat. Whatever means are available with them, he used to participate in all movements. He organized Vande Mataram movement in the schools of Nagpur. So whenever inspector came in, he was greeted with Vande Mataram. So the British inspector, school inspector, he was angry and he shut down all the schools of Nagpur. For 4 months, police tried to pinpoint the individuals who were behind this, but they could not get anything. Ultimately, the guardians, the government, they come together and they decided that with a nominal apology, schools should be allowed to start. When student enters the school, a teacher will be standing at the gate and he will ask, so it was wrong, no? Then he should just nod, yes, it was wrong. Okay, that is sufficient apology. But there were 2 students in Nagpur who refused even that. And therefore they were restricted. One of them was Dr. who later became Dr. Keshav Hedgewar. But he continued privately in the national school and appeared privately, stood in first class. So leaders of Nagpur sent him to Calcutta for medical education. Medical education was the eyewash for the British. He was given the task to contact the Coordination Committee of Revolutionaries, that is the Anushilana Samiti, and establish the revolutionary work in the western part of the country. So he went there, he had his education. There also he stood in first class, and he did this job also to the perfection. He became inner core member of the Anushilana Samiti. In books written by Rajbihari Basu, some details are given about him. His code name was Cocaine. There was one real person named Cocaine Chandra Chakravarti in Chandarnagar, who was under French. So he was given his name. Once police tried to find that cocaine and arrested wrong cocaine. That also happened. All this is mentioned. He was given the charge of the area from Rajasthan to Andhra. In this area, revolutionaries, he had to settle them, he had to supply the arms, he has to generally supervise their activity, carry out many things. But that revolutionary movement also fizzled away due to some inherent faults of individuals, not of the movement. Then there was Congress agitation going on. So there was a movement in 1920. For that, he became a doctor. There was a job for him ready to go to Burma and serve there as a medical doctor. 3,000 rupees. That was the payment. But he told his principal, I don't want to go there. I don't want to earn money. I have resolved to put this life to the task of serving Bharat Mata. About my own career, I will think in next birth. He came back. His uncle asked him about marriage. He said, no, I will be brahmachari throughout this life. And he participated in the Home Rule movement. He went from village to village, delivered speeches, and generally awakened the people in the support of the movement. Naturally, he was arrested and tried for sedition. So in the trial, the usual way was not to give defense. To accept that, yes, I have delivered the speech and whatever comes in the form of punishment, you have to go through it. He said, I will give my defense. Because in those days, even media was allowed in courts. He said, I will get one more chance to give speech. And there will be media, so it will be spread everywhere. So he gave his defense. The judge sentencing him for 1 year rigorous imprisonment commented in his judgment, his speech of defense is more seditious than the speeches for which he is being tried. Because he started with a question, which law gave the British right to rule Bharat? Is there any such law? To remain independent is a fundamental right of every praja, every public. And I told that only. I did not speak against anyone. I told people to be independent and I told them how to be independent. You say you have got some reports, but your reporters, they don't know Marathi. I spoke in Marathi. My meetings were largely in the evening. There were no lights in those days, no electricity. How could they hear me and how could they write? And how could they understand Marathi? So, this is illegal government. This is illegal court. I don't accept this judiciary. Everything is illegal. I have committed no offense. I don't accept your justice. That is why this comment was made. He was such a fireman fellow, dedicated to only one task. So, whatever was going on in the country for the upliftment of our people, for liberation of our people, he participated in everything. In political movements, in dharmic movements, in social reforms, everywhere. And naturally, he came in contact with the leaders of the movements. Gandhiji, Subhash Babu, Dr. Ambedkar, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru. Actually, when Rajguru was underground, he sheltered him in Nagpur. And when vigilance in Nagpur increased, he sent him to Akola. And advised him not to go to Pune, but Rajguru somehow went to Pune and was arrested. He was actively participating in everything. And he was having discussions with all these. Madan Mohan Malviya. And then he was also observing. He was also thinking. And he found a common thing, which all those leaders thought. That common thing was, we have picked up an issue and we are working for its resolution. A day will come when this issue will be resolved. But there is no guarantee that issue will not rise again. British were not the first aggressors. It started from Shaka, Huna, Kushana, Yavana, then Islamic aggression, then British aggression. So repeatedly we were conquered by the handful of aggressors which were barbarians compared to us. We were wealthy, we were brave, we had armies, we had everything, and we had to fight it on our terrain, in defense. Still we lost. That means there are some inherent faults in our society, which were not there previously, which have crept in. What is that? We have forgotten who we are. Who we are as a Bharat. I know who am I. I know my family. I am its member. I know my caste. I know my language. I know my province. But I don't know my country. That was the condition. Atma Vismriti, we call it. In spite of all this diversity, we have been a nation since very hoary times. Even history cannot count those years. When history opened its eyes, it saw our nation in full splendor. So, we have forgotten that. And therefore, when something happens to part of our society, part of our country, we say, okay, it is so far away, I need not worry. Let it come here, then I will see. Naturally, when we forgot who we are, we forget who are ours. We forget our own people. We treated a section of society worse than animals because we forgot they are our own. Our diversities became dividing lines, defaults, faults. So, we have to remove this Vismriti. We have to make everybody remember who we are. We have to remove all these differences, Bhedas. And our tradition is we create unity without disturbing the diversities. Rest of the world thinks that for unity, uniformity is necessary. But our tradition is to think that the diversities are the decorations of unity because they are expressions of unity. Unity expressed through many individuals in many conditions at varied periods of times. So naturally forms are many. But the matter is one. In this manner, we have to organize our society. The quality and unity of society makes the miracle. There are leaders, there are ideologies, there are various sadhanas, various means, but they only help. They are not the cause. The cause is mettle of the society, merit of the society, unity of the society. So everybody thought like that. We have to have this, but we cannot apply ourselves because we have picked up our own issue. Some were fighting for independence, some were for dharma jagriti, some were for reforms. They made it their life work. So someone should do this. For example, I give one example. Read Swadeshi Samaj, written by Rabindranath Tagore. He says that if we want to get ourselves liberated from the British yoke of slavery, first we have to become who we are. We are aping the British. That will not help. Secondly, this deliverance would not come through the politics. We need social awakening. And the social awakening will not come through the speeches. We have to have exemplary social leaders locally. He called them Nayaks, who have transparent character, who have living contact with everybody in their area, who are completely selfless, working for the people, living for the people, and command explicit faith of the society in them. Such persons have to be created. You will find something like this mentioned in Hindu Swaraj also. When question was asked in Hindu Swaraj, it is a question answers book. A young fellow asks elder many questions and he answers it. So that young fellow asks, but due to British, there was so much contact, railways, etc., post offices, they have networked the country. So the elder, that is Gandhiji, answers, this is one of the myths the British themselves have created. We were one country much before the British came. So we are a nation from hoary times. We have to remember that unity. We have to get organized. We have to do away with all the faults that have crept in our individual character as well as national character. As a society, we have to have that quality. Someone should do this. So Dr. Hedgewar thought that so many personalities have applied themselves to various issues society was dealing with at that time. This one issue which fulfills everything has been left untouched. So I will experiment and I will try to unite the society. So for about 10 years he experimented with this. And then when he was confirmed in his mind that this is the methodology through which this can happen, he asked his young compatriots, he told them about this, and he let them experiment. So actually, we are now in the centenary programs of RSS, because we say that RSS started in 1925. But maybe RSS started in Dr. Hedgewar's mind before that, in 1915, 1916, like that. He made his experiments. He reached a conclusion, but he never told his colleagues that this is the conclusion, we have to work like this. He said, experiment. After Sangha was started, till 15 years, all these things were tried by the young Karyakartas of this Sangha inside the society. And they all experienced this and came to the conclusion that this is the way. In about 1939, this methodology was fixed. That methodology is Sangha. I said Sangha is not reaction or opposition. Sangha has come to fulfill, not to destroy. It is not in opposition of anything. Dr. Hedgewar himself in a Bauddhik Varga says that deeply considering the ways and means our ancestors used to unite this society and make this country whole again, we have studied it in detail and deeply, and removing all the shortcomings, we have found this way. That was exactly the process. So, this Sangha was started. Dr. Hedgewar he called a meeting on the Vijayadashmi day, 27th September, Friday, 1925, and he announced that today this Sangha has started. He didn't say, I have started. He said, this Sangha has started. Because it was his firm conviction that this is Ishwariya Karya, God's work. So that has come. It is a very natural response of the society to this situation. This has started like this. And then people asked him, okay, now the inauguration ceremony is over. What next? He said, now sit down and think what next. He never dictated. Everything with his own experience, each Karyakarta learned. Because it was a true method, because everybody was honest, had no other stake. They just wanted to make this country independent and prosperous again. They reached the same conclusion through different experiences. The methodology of organizing the society through man-making. Why society? Because as I said, leaders, they do help. Policies, they matter. Ideologies, they also matter. All these things are helping. They are not the main thing. The society has to be there. It accepts. It works. When all these things, they come into realization. So, Dr. Hedgewar said, I will get away from politics, current politics, vote politics, power politics. It will not help me. It will divide. Also, a political party will not allow its volunteers to work for this freely, because it is also constrained by various political constraints and restraints. One has to work freely, without any pressure on mind. Whatever is true, whatever seems fit, he will be able to do. So we have to have a separate, apolitical organization. When we think of the country and its affairs, we have to think of politics, but we need not participate. We don't participate in politics. We participate in Rashtra Shakti. National affairs. We are concerned with that. We try to influence that, now that we have strength. But Dr. Hedgewar said, politics will not help in this. So, a political organization of the society. Not an organization, powerful organization, a powerful pressure group within the society. No. To get the prosperity of the country, to achieve that, whole of the society has to work in one direction. A group cannot do it. As I say that leaders cannot do it, parties cannot do it, ideologies cannot do it, even Sangathan, organization like RSS alone cannot do it. Whole society has to become RSS. So Sangha is organization of the society, not in the society. That is why it is expanding. Now we have a strong presence in country. But we are not satisfied with this. Because whole society has to be organized. We have to work many miles ahead again. So organization of the society through man-making. Because the quality of men influences all the affairs of the family, and unit is the family. But again, family is led by persons. So, both individual character and national character has to be in place. Only individual character does not help. When we see individual character, Mirza Raja Jai Singh was a person of high character. He used to perform daily Parthiv Puja. But nationally, he helped Aurangzeb, who destroyed the Kashi Vishwanath temple. So he was a man of character, but he lacked national character. And persons with national character, if they have faults in their individual character, they cannot maintain their national character also. They may lead society astray. And this has to be carried out in all the society, so method has to be inexpensive, very simple. So this method is there. Come 1 hour daily to Shaka. Perform very simple exercise, have some small games, sing some songs, hear some stories, learn by heart the prarthana, subhashitas, etc., etc. Remember our country. When you come to Shaka ground, leave everything outside. Your problems, the situation, scarcity, this and that. No, only Bharat Mata. The Sangha Prarthana starts with Bharat Mata Namaste. Namaste Sada Vatsale Matrubhume. God comes second. Prabhu Shakti mein Hindu Rashtranga Bhulta is later on. And it ends with Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So train yourself to think for 1 hour only about Bharat Mata, only about the sons of Bharat Mata who are with you. Don't look from which source they come, to which caste or province or language they belong, whether they are economically at par with you or different. Don't think this. They are your brothers. Play with them. Play in the soil of Bharat Mata. Forget everything. Shed away all tension. And just make the bhakti. This will create those qualities, individual as well as national character. This was the theory. When Dr. Hedgewar started Sangha, for others, this was the theory. Many said Dr. Hedgewar has gone mad. With children, he is playing and he says, we will make our nation prosperous. That is not going to happen. But after 100 years, nobody dares to say that. They say no. Sangha is a force. Sangha has effect. And we expect Sangha to be effective more and more. Or some say, Sangha is a menace. Don't go on their simplicity. They are very, very poisonous thing. That also we hear. But in 100 years, the opposition which come out of lips, it has not come out of hearts. Hearts are with us. In our opponents, they know what we are. And because we want to organize all of this society, we don't mind opponents. Nindakaniyere lakhiye angana kuti chhawaye. Tulsidas ji said, my detractors, I will give them place in my angan. I will construct a hut for them. They will lodge there. Because if they keep on pricking me, I will always be aware about my shortcomings. I will not let any fault creep in my nature so that they get chance to criticize me. So we think they are also useful for our work in a way. But this Sangha continued and it has only one goal. Bharat Mata ki Jai. For that, organizing whole of the Hindu society. And it is very difficult to understand. Once a Lama was standing on a hillock and gazing in the west. So people below the hillocks, they started guessing what he is doing in gazing the setting sun. Oh, he is there for observing the sunset, beauty of the sunset. Another man said, no, I don't think so. Sunset is there always. I have never seen him. Today he has come, not for sunset. I think someone related or someone of his acquaintance will be coming. He is waiting for him and seeing from the west where he comes. Another said, no, I think there is something else. There is some sadhana like Tratak. That is what he is doing there. So fourth fellow, he shouted and asked the Lama, are you there waiting for someone? Someone who is coming from that direction? Lama said, no. Oh, then you are observing the beauty of sunset? No. Then you are doing Tratak there? No, no. Then why are you standing there? Because I want to stand here, I am standing here. Because I want to see in the westerly direction, I am. Nobody believed him. That is like that. When organized force is raised in the form of Sangha, it doesn't want power. It doesn't want prominence in the society. It just wants to serve, organize the society for the glory of Bharat Mata. Somehow in our country, people found it very hard to believe. But now they believe. Why Hindu society? That was another question. Because Hindus are responsible for Bharat. What is our country? It is not that British gave us nationhood. We are an ancient nation. So everywhere in the world people agree that every nation has its core culture. There are many inhabitants, but there is a core culture. What is the core culture of Bharat? That is, whatever description we give, it leads us toward Hindu. For example, Babar came through Punjab. At Sherpura, he massacred all the people. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was there and he has described it. Turkesthana khasmana kiya, Hindusthana daraya. The first time the word Hindu was uttered by a saint in Bharat, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And then he describes that Hindu women lost their Sheela and Muslim women lost their Asmat. Now he said Muslim. Why? Because it is clear. Those who worship only Allah and nobody else, those who follow the edicts of Quran, those who have explicit faith in Paigambar Sahab, they are Muslims. This defines Muslim. But then he said Hindu. Now what did he mean by Hindu? There were Vaishnavas, there were Shaktas, there were Shaivas, there were Jains, Buddha, everybody was there. One kind he denoted by name, Muslim. Because Muslims say we are right, everybody else is wrong. But there were others also, which can be described in this manner, but together they were called Hindu. Because they say everyone has his own path. Respect others. Respect the diversities. Accept them. Stay fast on your way. And live together, go together. You need not quarrel because your paths are different. Being different doesn't make you separate. All those who thought like that, they were grouped in a single word, Hindu. That is what we are. If we describe Bharat, how will you describe it? Not geography. Bharat is also a nature. If we read the preamble of our constitution, what will you say? That is the exact description. And this content was traditionally named as Hindu. And therefore, Hindu society has to be organized. Now we say there are 4 kinds of Hindus in our country. Hindus who say, yes, we are proud Hindus. There are Hindus who say, we are Hindus, all right, but what is there to be proud, especially of? Everybody has a pride. Then third kind is, they know they are Hindus. Inside their homes, if we go, they say, yes, we are Hindus. But publicly they don't admit because they are afraid of losing something, votes or something. And there are those who have forgotten they are Hindus. So in examination paper, when we write answers, we solve easier questions first. So unite this society, whole society. Actually in Bharat, there is no Ahindu. All the Muslims, all the Christians, they are also descendants of the same ancestors. They don't know it. Or they are made to forget it. Everybody else knows that they are Hindus. And that is what we are. Because Hindu is an inclusive word. Those who live in Bharat, they think like this. They respect and accept every diversity. That is why they have been named Hindus. That we could do because our ancestors found the connection between humanity, whole creation. Some call it Atma, some call it Brahma, like that. So Though we appear separate, different, we are not. We are expression of the same unity, and it is the supreme goal of every individual to find that unity and to be happy, because it yields everlasting happiness. That is what every Bharatiya religion says. Every Bharatiya darshan, it starts all is one. And it culminates into Yama Niyamatmak Acharan. Satya Ahimsa Aste Aparigra Brahmacharya, Tapa Shaucha Santosh Swadhyaya Adi Adi. Every Bharatiya religion, every Bharatiya ideology, it is like that. This is the common feature. That is why everybody inside is Hindu. And why we could do this? Because Bharat was protected. And Bharat was prosperous, naturally prosperous. Our Bharat Mata gave us ample portion. And it also gave us the sanskar. It also gave us the time to think. So we turned our gaze inward and found that truth. So being Hindu means being son of Bharat Mata. Being Hindu means being a believer, not only believer, a man who tries to realize this, to experience this, to go and actually see. In our traditions, there is no faith. I tell you this is so, I have seen it, you can see if you try. How to try, I will teach you. We don't ask to believe, experience. That was our tradition, because Bharat Mata gave us all this. And so the dharma, not religion, religion is a way of worship. Dharma is Satya, Karuna, Shuchita, Tapas. These are the values arising out of that truth. These are dharma values. On that basis, we have this Sanskriti. Dharma is not religion. And Sanskriti is not culture. Culture is cult. Blindly following a hero or a particular example. That is not Sanskriti. Through generations, who has preserved this Sanskriti? At the time of Ram, 12,000 years BC, whatever the norms of character was there, established by Rama. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. And that continues till date, through generations. That method is sanskar, and the creation of sanskars is Sanskriti. So everybody in Bharat, all denominations, Bharatiya and foreign, they have Bharat Mata as their own. Even the Muslims, वतन की मुट्ठी भर मिट्टी जनाजे में नहीं पड़ती तब तक जन्नत नहीं नसीब होती. So there is no other go, Bharat. Knowingly, unknowingly, everybody follows the hoary tradition of Bharatiya Sanskriti. And outward expressions arising out of that. And we have common ancestors. Everybody knows his Vansha. I find Christians and Muslims who tell me their Gotra. They have preserved those memories. So nobody is a Hindu. Every Hindu must realize he is a Hindu. Because being Hindu means being responsible for Bharat. That is why organization of Hindu society, and that is why Bharat Hindu Rashtra hai. It is not contradictory with anything we are doing today. Not contradictory with any system we are doing today. On the contrary, this confirms you with what we are doing today, the Samvidhan we are following today, it confirms you in that. This is Sangha. And this 100-year journey was not easy. Because when Sangha started, this Vichar, Hindutva, was not was not in vogue. It was PAS, P-A-S-S-E. People said Hindu is a dying race. Hindutva is something old. There was no acceptance of the Vichara. Dr. Hedgewar had no means, the usual means we employ when we start some work. There was no publicity. There was no power, government. On the contrary, government was always opposing the Sangha. Dr. Hedgewar was not a famous leader all over the country. In and around Nagpur, he was known. But he was not an all India leader. His personality was not in that sense very impressive. Sangha had nothing, no Karyakarta, nothing. But sheer dedication of Dr. Hedgewar towards this ideal, that created men with the same dedication. And with this घोर क्या कहते उपेक्षा, ignorance, Sangha was ignored, but through this ignorance, Karyakartas could bring out Sangha. No means. A pracharak was sent to Bhagalpur. So, some 5 rupees he was given. 3 rupees, 12 annas, that was the railway fare. So, he had that Sawa Rupiah for his expenses. He remained in Bhagalpur for 3 years. Nobody knew him, he knew nobody in Bhagalpur. Dr. Hedgewar didn't know anybody in Bhagalpur. So he lived in the Patna Bhagalpur local, which used to come on station at 10 o'clock and used to leave to go back to Patna on the 5 o'clock in the morning. So he used to spend his night in that train. And there were facilities on the station. He used to use it for his morning course. And then for a day he used to roam in Bhagalpur. He knew nobody. So where should he eat? So 1 anna, 1 सेर चना मिलता था. उसमें 4 बार का खाना करना. So when Shaka started, one of the Bal Swayamsevaks, he asked him to come home. There was some vratam and a Brahmin was needed to be fed. And he was Brahmin. So he brought him to home. Mother of that Bal Swayamsevaks, while she was feeding him, inquired about him. And she knew that he is postgraduate. He doesn't get any pay, nothing. To organize the society, he has come here and there is no place where he can go and eat. So she, in a way, ordered him, you have to come here between 11 and 12 daily and take your food. If you are not coming and having your food somewhere else, you have to send because if you don't eat, I am not going to eat. So that tradition continued till that family was in Bhagalpur. When I went there in Bihar as a Kshetra Pracharak, I went first time in Bhagalpur. The conditions had changed drastically. I was residing in a eye doctor's home, a lavish home, and there was first day bhojan there. Our Vibhag Sangha Chalak was there. So we started and he didn't come out at the table. I said, come, have your meal. He said, no, I will go back to home. Why? He will, I am here to see that you start your meal. Then I will go and report in my home that the pracharak, there were 4 of us and all 4 were there. Pracharaks have started their meal. Then only my bahus and my wife, they will eat. That continued. He told me this story. He was in class at that time. He was the boy who invited that pracharak. These were the days. We came through that. And then we fears for about 60, 70 years, we faced the fears of opposition. No voluntary organization in the world has faced this. There were 2 bans. There was third also, but it was not much of a ban. There were opposition, criticisms. Swanseuks were murdered. In every way, it was tried that we should not thrive. But Swayamsevaks, they give their all to Sangha. And they don't want anything in return. And on that basis, we have mastered all these situations. And now we are in a state where there is some credibility in the society. Everybody loves us. Everybody is ready to help us. But there is another thing which helped us survive. We didn't take any help from outside Sangha. Finances, Sangha Swayamsevaks contribute to Sangha. Once in a year, there is Guru Dakshina. Sangha Swayamsevaks give money, not as a contribution, as a samarpan. They dedicate. They try to give the most, maximum possible. For that, they may forego, okay, for this year I will not eat dal. Whatever money is saved, I will give in Guru Dakshina. Like that. Because Swayamsevaks are there, which are very poor also. But they also see to it that they can give Guru Dakshina and they can keep it increasing every year. They do all sorts of things for that. For service activities, for the help of the society, whatever we do, we take from society, we involve them, and we work. But to run Sangha, not a single pie has been taken from outside. That keep us independent. Nobody can exert that pressure on us. We speak whatever we think is true. We express ourselves freely. Karyakartas also, we manufacture our own Karyakartas. We are not dependent on anybody. We give Karyakartas. We don't take Karyakartas. We produce our Karyakartas. So men, money, ammunition, these 3 factors are needed. In all these 3 factors, we are self-sufficient. And this will continue in coming days also. Because as I said, we have to organize whole of the society. And what Hindu society wants to do, Hindu society, in the prime of its strength and glory, always wants to unite the world. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yogi Arvind said, it is God's will that Sanatan Dharma should rise. And therefore Bharat must rise. Because Sanatan Dharma is Hindu Rashtra. And Utthan of Sanatan Dharma means Utthan of Bharatvarsh. And we are seeing that we are coming up. What for? We have to contribute to world life. We have a mission. Our Karyakarta Dadarao Parmat, his English mannerisms are very famous. So in one sentence he describes Sangha work. What is Sangha? RSS is evolution of life mission of Hindu nation. What is the life mission of Hindu nation? About that, and about other things. After centenary, what are our plans? We'll speak tomorrow. Thank you for listening me today. Not tomorrow, today only in second session. So, one more long speech, you have to bear with me. And thank you for bearing with me up till now.